Picture this. It's 1998, and France is on top of the world. Zinedine Zidane is kissing the World Cup trophy, a nation is united, and that legendary squad is instantly locked into the Football Hall of Fame, untouchable for eternity. But what if I told you we've been blinded by nostalgia? Look at the French national team right now. Look at the terrifying depth, the freakish athleticism, and the sheer volume of world-class talent rolling off the production line. It makes you wonder if we are witnessing something far greater than a golden generation. We might be looking at the most powerful international football machine ever assembled. This sounds simple. It isn't, because comparing eras means fighting against pure emotion. In theory, the 1998 team is the gold standard. They had the iconic jerseys, the home turf glory, and a defense that felt like a brick wall. But when you strip away the romance and look at the raw data, the modern French era starts to look less like a football team and more like a cheat code. So, which generation actually holds the real power? Let's find out. To understand why the current generation is so terrifying, we first need to strip away the gold-plated myth of 1998. Don't get me wrong, that team was iconic. They had Laurent Blanc, Lilian Thuram, and Marcel Desailly anchoring a defense that conceded just 2 goals all tournament. And, of course, they had Zinedine Zidane casting spells in midfield. But football isn't played on paper, and it certainly isn't won on nostalgia alone. If you look closely at that 98 team, they had a glaring, almost bizarre weakness. Their front line was practically non-existent. Their starting striker, Stefan Givarcach, played the entire tournament and scored exactly 0 goals. Think about that. A team won the World Cup with a number 9 who couldn't find the back of the net. They relied heavily on defensive solidity and absolute genius from Zidane to pull them through. Now, look at the team Didier Deschamps is leading through the 2026 World Cup group stages. The contrast is night and day. France isn't just relying on 1 or 2 geniuses anymore, they are fielding an entire squad of apex predators. Up front, you have Kylian Mbappe, who has already smashed Olivier Giroud's all-time scoring record to hit 60 goals for his country. He's 27 now, in his absolute prime, and already breathing down the necks of the greatest to ever play the game. And he isn't alone. Look at the surprising hat-trick against Norway, alongside the terrifyingly clinical Bradley Barcola and Desire Dewey. These aren't just good players, this is a Champions League winning caliber attack where every single option can destroy a defense on their own. You know the type, the kind of squad that makes opposing managers look at the team sheet and just sigh. In 1998, if you managed to neutralize Zidane, you essentially stopped France. In the modern era, if you somehow manage to pocket Mbappe, you still have to deal with a front line that runs 5 deep with world-class game changers. The 1998 team was a legendary 11. The current squad is a production line of elite footballing talent that doesn't seem to have a weak link. To see where this gap really widens, you have to look at how much the physical blueprint of football has changed over the last 3 decades. The 1998 team wasn't built on blinding transition speed. They were built on tactical grit, positional discipline, and a midfield engine room designed to break teams down mentally and physically. Think about the muscle in that 98 midfield. You had a relentless Didier Deschamps sniffing out danger, Christian Karembeu covering every blade of grass, and a young Patrick Vieira waiting on the bench like a human wrecking ball. They would strangle the life out of games, slow the tempo down, and wait for a moment of magic. It was highly effective, completely ruthless, and fundamentally traditional. But modern football has evolved into a sport played at a hyper-athletic, breakneck pace. And the current French squad feels like it was engineered in a lab specifically to dominate this new era. Take a look at the physical engine driving the current team. You have Aurelien Tchouameni and the likes of Warren Zaire-Emery. These guys aren't just technical wizards who can ping 60-yard passes with their eyes closed. They are elite, modern athletes with engines that allow them to press, cover, and transition from defense to attack in a fraction of a second. They don't just win the ball back, they instantly weaponize it. And behind them? The defensive line is pure nightmare fuel for any attacker. William Saliba, Dayot Upamecano, and Ibrahima Konate combine the structural intelligence of old-school Italian defenders with the raw sprinting power of Olympic track athletes. In 1998, a defender's job was to stand his ground and make a tackle. Today, French defenders are expected to high press, win a foot race against the fastest wingers in the world, and instantly kickstart a counterattack. The 1998 generation was powerful for its time, absolutely. But they were operating in a different gear. This modern squad plays with a terrifying blend of size, strength, and explosive velocity. If the '98 team was a heavy-duty tank, The current side is a stealth fighter jet loaded with heavy artillery. They don't just outposition you, they physically overwhelm you until your system completely breaks down. This is where it gets interesting. When you look back at 1998, France had a legendary starting 11, but their squad depth was a fragile ecosystem. If Zinedine Zidane caught a cold, the entire nation went into a state of panic. In fact, when Zidane was suspended for 2 games during that tournament after getting a red card against Saudi Arabia, the French attack completely stalled, barely scraping past Paraguay in extra time thanks to a golden goal from defender Laurent Blanc. They were always just one injury away from a total collapse. Today, France has a completely different kind of problem, a total overload of elite talent. The depth of the modern generation creates a paradox that would break most international teams. Didier Deschamps can leave generational talent sitting on the couch at home, roll out a completely rotated B team, and still field a lineup that would comfortably walk into the top tier of international football. Think about it. Players who would be the absolute undisputed superstars for 90% of the countries on Earth are actively fighting just to get a spot on the French bench. Look at how this plays out in real time. If an elite forward takes a knock or suffers a dip in form, France doesn't sweat. They casually sub in Michael Olise, who is pulling the strings at the highest level for Bayern Munich, or unleash Ryan Cherki to completely rewrite the tactical flow of a match. This deep pool of talent has essentially made the modern French national team immune to the kinds of crises that ruin World Cup campaigns for everyone else. An injury crisis isn't a disaster for them, it's just an opportunity to blood the next €100 million prodigy coming out of the Parisian suburbs. In 1998, France won because their thin squad perfectly managed their peak form over a single, magical month. In the modern era, France doesn't need to rely on perfect conditions. The sheer abundance of elite resources allows them to absorb blow after blow, change tactical systems on the fly, and wear opponents down through pure, relentless attrition. So, when you take everything into account, the lack of a striking presence in 1998, the terrifying modern evolution of athleticism, the endless depth of the current squad, and a mental resilience built in the elite pressure cooker of modern club football, where does that leave us? It brings us right back to that original question: has nostalgic reverence blinded us to reality? The 1998 team will always remain a legendary, untouchable monument in football history. They did something magical, but football isn't a museum piece. When you look at this modern French machine sweeping through the 2026 World Cup knockout stages, you realize we aren't just watching a great team. We are watching the peak evolution of the sport. If these 2 generations ever met on a pitch, the romanticized past would simply be overwhelmed by the hyper-athletic, ruthless efficiency of the present. The modern squad doesn't just match the power of '98, they completely redefine it. Drop a comment below and let me know your verdict. And if you want more deep dives that break down the beautiful game, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.